Hi, welcome back. Again, I'm Steve Damasco, the Grand Master for Steve Damasco Shaolin Studios. As promised, today we're going to talk a little bit about defense for gun and knife. Understand this. This is probably one of the biggest factors that I want to stress today, is that there's no guaranteed technique. And I've watched these martial arts shows and these other styles and these karate magazines for 35 years now, and they show you, oh, this is the technique that you can absolutely defend yourself with. I'm telling you, there is no guaranteed technique against a knife or a gun. So even as an experienced martial artist, my recommendation is to people that even are experienced, again, is that if you're in a situation like that where there is a knife and a gun, a knife or a gun, you're being threatened with, if at all possible, give them what they want and go away. I mean, the decision that your life is in danger is a decision that you would have to know and understand and make that decision whether you wanted to try to defend yourself because you were convinced that you were in danger of serious injury or beyond that. Let me talk about the gun first. The gun is, believe it or not, for me, is a weapon that I would rather defend myself against than a knife, and I'll explain why. The gun is, especially at close range, at long range, there is no self-defense technique for a gun at long range. Okay. At short range, all you have to do is get out of the way of that barrel, that little hole. You have to clear yourself from that little hole. And at short range, that obviously it's a lot easier and believe it or not, a lot less hazardous than a knife, because a knife you have to be more of a technician. The gun, let me see the gun, Michael. The gun is here. And what you have here is why don't you point the gun at me? What you have here is you have an extension of his hand. So if I just have to move that barrel out of the way, okay, that little barrel, that's what I can do. Whereas if he had the knife in his hand, which I'll get later, okay, and explain that, if I go for the knife, if my hands are down, on my hands, they say put your hands up or your hands are down, and I go for that knife, okay, their reaction is they're either going to come at me with it, or they're going to go back with it. And either way, if I'm inaccurate, if that was a knife and he goes back, I'm going to cut, my fingers are gone. Or if he comes at me, my fingers are gone. So I don't have the option at close range that I would have with a gun, because the gun gives you an extended hand. With a knife, you have to be very accurate not to grab that blade and be able to get to that hand right away. Now let me explain about the 2-second delay. I actually did this with the FBI. And they were really reluctant to do this because I had to use a real gun, and they checked it like at least 10 times to make sure there was no bullets in it. The brain has about a 2-second delay. And what that means is this. I had them hold the gun to my head, obviously not loaded. And I said, when I go for the gun, I want you to pull the trigger. Okay? And I would go for, at the beginning, what I did intentionally was I would move my shoulder, because it's very hard, and this is where an experienced martial artist comes in. Everybody that goes to throw a punch or moves their hand, they will move, which hand am I working with here? They will move their shoulder first. The shoulder will move and then the hand. Well, as soon as they see the shoulder move, they know something's coming. As a martial artist, because we throw a lot of punches and a lot of kicks, and we train the body, the full body motion, is we're trained not to move that shoulder. So when I go for the gun or the knife, that shoulder doesn't move. Okay? And because of the 2-second delay, okay, it gives me the ability to get to that hand if it's a knife, or to get to that gun if it's pointing at me. Okay, what I did with the FBI agent is I had them hold the gun here, and I said, when I go for the gun, I want you to shoot. Michael, I know this is going to sound foolish, but I want you to say bang. So just say it. Right. Say it. Bang. Okay, when I go for the gun, I want you to say bang. You ready? Yep. You got to see and say bang. Okay, you ready? Go. Bang. See, watch. Bang. Now what he's seeing is he's seeing my shoulder move. Now do it again. Bang. I didn't move my shoulder. Now I'm going to move. You ready? Go. Bang. Do it again. Bang. You see? My shoulder's moving. Now watch. You ready? Bang. I think that you can see this on television, that when I don't move my shoulder, when I don't telegraph, go ahead. Bang. He shot that bullet way over here. The brain, it's not that Michael's slow. The brain has a 2-second delay. Now, what was impressive, not that a 10th degree black belt could do this, okay, is that I then said, okay, to the agent, I said, I'm going to hold the gun to your head, okay, which I really enjoy doing. I'm just joking. Anyway, I held the gun to his head. And at first he just telegraphed. But after talking him through it, I said, relax, close your eyes, okay, close your eyes. And then when you're totally relaxed, do this. You ready, Mike? Bang. You can clearly see that that bullet is being shot way over here. Now, what's more impressive is my point being is once I could get him to relax and focus just on moving that arm, that hand, and not the shoulder, I missed him. And he did it 2 or 3 times, and there were other FBI SWAT members in the room, and they were laughing, they were joking. And they said they know about the 2-second delay, but they don't ever really train like that, which is one of the reasons they bring me in is to show that whole thing with the Matrix. What was that movie, Michael, with the Matrix? What was that? That was the Matrix. That was the name of it, the Matrix, the movie. When the guy goes da 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 da, and he's doing like this, and he's missing those bullets. I looked at that. And of course, that was fantasy, and it was fun to watch. But there was even some logic to that because it has been done. I wouldn't do it. I don't think I'm not that good. Where people have tried this, not people, but like in shows, where they would shoot the gun and dodge the bullet because he had a very clear shot at his finger, and he would say pull. And when he yelled pull, he would move, and the guy pulled his trigger, and the bullet would go by him. I saw this in one of those crazy shows years ago. But it can be done, as you can clearly see. I'll do one more time. From here, you ready, Mike?
Yep. Bang.
You see, he shot me. Yeah, it's interesting how the brain works, too. He moved the gun out of the way when I moved my own. Okay, that was good. Okay, you ready?
Bang. Bang.
Again, you can clearly see he wasn't even close to doing that, okay? That's the 2-second delay. Now, I'll show you a technique that I like. There's a lot of techniques. This technique here. Now, if he was here, okay, with the gun, all right, Michael wants to hold me up. He wants my money. Can you see that gun? It's black. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. All right, hold it a little bit lower so it's in the orange so they can see it. All right? Now, you going to go bang?
Yeah.
All right. You ready? Here we go. Go.
Bang.
Interesting. Now, you see how he keeps moving his hand? He would have still shot me. But that's a classic example of what I was talking about with the knife. Because when I go for that knife, that's exactly what he's going to do. The reaction is the brain is going to react to what it normally does. And I went for the gun, and he wants to pull that gun away. But even then, I would have got shot. Okay, you ready?
Bang.
Now the technique.
Bang.
You see? Now what happens with this is that technique, again, you ready?
Bang.
Did you see what I just did? That is my favorite technique. I saw that technique on Jackie Chan and Chris Rock. What was the name of that movie? There was 3 of them.
I don't know.
You know which one I'm talking about, but that's what they did in the movie. I liked it. You ready? But basically what I did, that's a Jackie Chan technique. Anyway, what I did was, rush hour. So what I did was I moved the gun out of the way. I came up underneath it to secure. I had secured it immediately. Doesn't make any difference. I want to secure here, but the most important thing at this point, and do not practice this at home unless you have a wooden gun, okay? Because remember, my reflexes are fast, and I'm a trained martial artist, and I've been doing this a long time. You cannot learn a technique, I don't care what the technique is, and then expect to do it right away. It's not going to happen. Okay, that's where martial arts comes in and the training. 1 is what I did. 2, now the finger's in the barrel normally, and Mike was smart to take his finger out. He knows this because what happens is it breaks your finger. When I turn that in, it breaks your finger, and then I come back with the gun. So it actually works as a weapon against him before I even hold the gun on him because I move the gun out of the way. When their finger's in there and it's steel, is you snap that thing up and it breaks the finger, and then you've got the gun. Okay, so that's really a basic. There's a bunch of different techniques we practice, but the most important thing is 1, like a punch. A punch. Get out of the way of the punch. Block the punch. Now we need to get out of the way of the gun. Most important thing, get out of the way. 2, take secure the weapon. And then 3, I've got him. That's the basic gun technique.